Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Let me see. Well, it's soon to be afternoon. Well, just afternoon for me. But I hope everybody doing well, man. I wanted to jump back on here today and continue to raise awareness. Raise awareness of what's going on. It is good to be among the living, and man, I'm just excited today. Spending money on my daughter, just hanging out with my mom, my baby girl, and my man Peanut. But man, I hope everybody's doing great. I wanted to jump on here and have a conversation. Truly, it is a blessing. And not only is it a blessing, but one thing that I've learned, and I've learned this over the years, I've learned to be content. I learned to be not only content, but I learned to be at peace. And the good thing about being at peace is when you are at peace with yourself, the Bible talks about a Philippians 4:7 peace, a peace that surpasses all understanding. And one thing that I've learned just over the years is there are going to be times in life where when there are going to be times in life where God will put you in situations to show you. And that's why I love about what the scripture said. I love about that the scripture talks about, when you apply God's word and you let God do the work, things will be revealed. And then when you stand for the things of righteousness, when you stand for something right, it's going to upset some people. It's going to upset some people. And the people that don't like it, they will do any and everything. But that's why the Bible said, don't be weary in your well-doing, right? And there's an assurance and there's a confidence that you can stand on when you stand on business and you do things in decency and in order, right? It's certain things too, there's just not a free pass where, the scripture doesn't teach people, even it's talking about turning the other cheek. It doesn't teach people to be passive. It doesn't teach people to be doormats, right? So you can stand on business, but at the end of the day, you don't have to stoop to the levels that certain people go to. And I will continue to advocate for what's right in the community. I've been committed to doing this. I've been committed to doing this for a couple months now, and we'll continue to do so. And we'll stick to the facts, stick to the truth. That's what it's about, right? There is no distractions, right? There's no distractions. And sticking to the facts and truth, it is what it is. And I will continue to advocate for this. I will advocate for, if I am not telling the truth, and if something that I'm providing that is not factual, please provide me with factual information to refute that, credible information to refute that, and so that I can be better informed, and then I will gladly come back on to say that I was wrong. But anything beyond that is not stopping me from what I'm doing. It doesn't matter what the attempt is. It doesn't matter what the strategy is. It doesn't matter what the scheme is. It's not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing, right? Why? Because I want to. I'm doing what I feel that I want to. Right? I'm doing what I feel that I'm led to do. And God has gifted me with the ability to do certain things and to articulate things in a certain way and stay consistent with it and continue to advocate for what's best for the community. But what did I came on to talk about today? I came on today because I wanted to discuss and have a discussion and a conversation about, what happened to back in February of 2022. February 2022, the Black Belt News Network posted an article, and in the article it was titled basically Perry County Jail get $600,000 for upgrades, right? And in that article featured the former sheriff Billy Jones. And in that article, former Sheriff Billy Jones talked about all of the, and I made the post on my page, you can go and see it, but it talked about all of the upgrades. They was going to upgrade cameras. They was going to redo showers. They was going to there's a lot of things. They was going to bring in a nurse. And I made a post about this before, and I talked about some of the things that they did. They did make those upgrades, right? But when you fast forward, a year later in 2023, I found the video that was shared from inside the jail of deplorable conditions that was inside the jail. And the jail is still currently closed from from when it was shut down after they had Sheriff Fikes shut it down. After they had an escapee in September, when it brought in, there was some damage done to the wall. But back in December the 8th, the contractor that was hired to fix it gave a testimony. And in my post, I shared the link to that full testimony. That testimony is about 21 minutes long. But that's a full testimony of that. The contractor that was hired to fix the jail gave his testimony to the Perry County Commission. And in that testimony, he basically said that he was asked a question by the commission is the jail ready to be opened? And he said, well, he is finished with the work that he was contracted to do, but the jail needed a lot more work being done. And he talked about the bed. He talked about how a lot of the walls didn't have rebar in it. The conditions of the jail, you know, just the deplorable conditions that we're talking about 4 years after they had reportedly $600,000 in a grant. That grant, now I would tell you, I was not able to find the grant because the title of the grant wasn't listed, but the article did mention $600,000 that former Sheriff Billy Jones talked about. And but when you go, and I tried to find what specific grant it was it a DECA grant, what type of grant it was, I couldn't locate it. And as people know, I've been pretty good at locating things, but I couldn't locate it. But it raised the question, right? What happened to the $600,000? Where did that money go? What contractor came in and did work in there when a year later you saw the conditions in the video that I shared that were deplorable, right? And that not even talk about the other $200,000 in grant funding that Albert Turner announced that they got in 2021 for them to do a COVID treatment area, that there's no evidence of a COVID treatment area in that facility. Right, and it just brings in the questions. And the reason why I bring that up is because those are the things that I ask. Those are the questions that I ask. Those are the things. I present facts. It is factual that the article was published on, I think, the 9th of February, 2022. And if I misspoke about it, I know it's February. You can go to my page and click on the link and actually see the article. Because in the article, they took a picture of former Sheriff Billy Jones standing in front of the James Hood Detention Center. Right, so you can see that. Right, and you can see where he said that all of the improvements that they were going to make. And he was quoted in saying that. So my question is, since the Perry County commissioner managed the bank, managed the funds of it, what happened? Who was the contractor to do it? Where's the itemized list of the work that's being done? Because the conditions that Perry County just voted to allocate $86,611 to go to contract work that's done in there, why would we have to do that work if they spent $600,000 to upgrade it a few years back, 3 years before? And when I ask those questions, right, I'm never given an answer to it. Those elected officials never give an answer. They never provide an answer. Only thing they do is they try to make it about stuff that is not, to be a distraction, but never provide any answers. Never provide any answers. And I'm just saying, they dedicate their time, energy, and effort for those and their supporters to try to build distractions and come and talk about stuff that's not even relevant to it, but never answer the question. I think the community want to know, hey, if y'all got $600,000, then why the jail look like it look? Do y'all understand that? And those are the things and the questions that I've been asking throughout. Those are the things and the questions that I've been asking for a lot of different things in reference to Perry County, in reference to those that are in leadership position in Perry County. And when you ask those simple questions, then you get personal attacks. You get called names. You know, they revert to elementary level name calling and rumor mills and all this stuff because they refuse to answer the actual question. They try to suggest things that's not even true. Like I'm telling people right now, I'm living my best life right now. I'm so excited about this next chapter, and I'm living my best life, right? I have always been a person to stand on my own 2 feet, to earn my own. I have never been jealous of anybody. Never been jealous of anybody. So what makes it think I'm jealous of anybody back in Perry County? right? I'm just being honest with you, right? I mean, and if people can't understand what discipline look like, if people can't understand what commitment look like, if they haven't been demonstrated or you haven't seen real examples of it, then then you may need to take some time to gain a better understanding instead of trying to fabricate lies, right? Because the fabrication is not stopping it. It's not stopping the lies. What I'm going to go back to is deal with the facts, deal with the truth, and ask for the question: accountability and transparency. Right? There was an announcement. Somebody had to call the Black Belt News Network. Somebody had to do it. Somebody had to put that information out. Former Sheriff Billy Jones did give those quotes, did itemize all those things that he said they were going to do. So when somebody go back and ask, hey, y'all said y'all was going to do this, then why wasn't this done? When you said y'all got funding for it. And guess what? That happens so much in Perry County. All the time that there's announcements and stuff like that that said that funding is allocated, we got funding for this, but people don't see the results of it. Don't see the results. And it's crazy. Like I said, crazy work. Crazy work. And just asking those simple questions. What's wrong with somebody asking a question, right? First of all, they say, well, I'm not from there, so I don't have the right to kick rocks. I have the right to do and ask whatever question that I want to ask. That's what it is. Those are just simple questions. It ain't asking about personal things. Right. And you know, this is the other thing, right? And I do want to bring this up because, you know, some people spoke on it, but I do want to bring this up. And I do want to propose this question. And this is a question that I want people to think about, right? Ponder and people to think about. I shared a video was shared with me, and I shared that video, and that video was a video from a clip, a 13-second clip from a Real Housewife of Atlanta episode that they filmed in Birmingham back in 2023. And in that video, it was a picture of Albert Turner, a video of Albert Turner in there because he had the jacket on, and the jacket he had the Perry County Commissioner lapel on, the pin on, right? There's nothing wrong with him being in that video, right? And I just simply asked the question, who is it? Some people said that I made it personal. That wasn't my intent. That was not my intent. Now, the question is, what are you doing at that event with this jacket on, with that Perry County Commissioner lapel on? Were you at that event for official business? That's the question. That's the question. And that's a legitimate question to ask, right? That is a legitimate question. But the thing is, what is really alarming is there's nothing wrong with being at the event. But when I was on my live yesterday, I'm just curious, why would Albert come up and try to say that it was AI generated? And try to say I'm playing AI games and making a threat saying, be ready. Why would you go through that length? If nothing was done wrong, then why would you go through the length to try to suggest that it was AI generated? Now, I would AI generate somebody somebody recording from their phone to a television of what's on the television of an episode, of a trailer to an episode that was aired on Bravo a couple years ago, that I would AI generate Albert being in the picture when they blurred his face out. And most of the time when they blur people's face out on TV, people have to sign like a release form to use their face. So if they don't, then they blur their face out. That's how you see people when they do videos on like social media and stuff, and you see like they do pranks and stuff like that. They ask the person, could they do it? And if they don't say no, you see they blur their face out. But why lie about that? Why lie and try to fabricate misinformation, a lie that's saying it was AI generated? If you're willing to do that on that, then what else are you willing to fabricate? What else are you willing to lie about? And that's all, the consistency of the character and the behavior of the individuals. You know, those are the questions. Those are the questions that you sit down and be like, man, that's kind of crazy though. It is. And I would tell you, with desperation, you will see all types of things done when people that are desperate. And not only that, when I say done when people that are desperate, but you just be, I would say, I would urge people to just be mindful and watchful. You know, everything that I've done, I've spoken out by myself. I stood on my own 2 feet. I stood 10 toes down. I have not shied away. I have not done things from an anonymous perspective, right? I've done things in a respectful way. I know some people may disagree with it because they may disagree with what I've done, but I've always remained professional. I've always remained respectful. I've only dealt with facts. I only dealt with truth, right? No rumors, no nothing, right? I have not partnered with anybody to try to fight my battles, because that's what I do. I fight my own battles, right? There's a lot of people who know of me, but don't know me. And they're going off of what they've known me when I was a child. I'm 46 years old. I was a child over 30 years ago. There's a lot that has happened in 30 years. And if you don't know me by now, the best thing to do is try to get to know me by now, but not go off of assumptions of what I was as a child. Because if you want to get to know me, we can have a conversation, right? But at the same point, I don't have to talk to you. And what I mean by that is, if I know that you don't mean me no good, I know that you don't have my best interest at heart, or if you've said derogatory things about my family, I don't have to give you access to me. So I just wanted to just put that out there respectfully. And there's nothing that's stopping it, right? There's nothing that in that regard, right? But I'm going to stick with facts, because I've been dealing with facts, and I have yet to been provided one time of anything that showed that anything that I've shared, anything that I've posted, have been wrong or have been a lie. Right? But I've been personally called out of my name. My military service have been personally attacked and ridiculed. Things have been said. Other things have been, derogatory things have been said. Rumors have been spread. Right? The same old talking points have always been said, but I've stuck to the facts and still have not been provided anything to dispute it. I'm sticking to the facts. If you don't like what the facts are, then get mad at the facts. Right? But you know what's funny? I've heard people say this, and I'm going to address this. I'm definitely going to address this. I've heard people say, man, I'm just so sick and tired of him. I'm sick and tired of him. And people have said this. I'm not going to say this word. I'm not going to say the word that they use, but I'm going to use another scientific term to say that in a more PG-13, right? They said that I am gonad riding. Right, that I am male reproductive organ riding, because I'm posting facts, like facts. I'm literally taking the words that are said and showing facts that people can click on links and go see and verify. I have taken the time to show people how they can go look up information, where they can go look up the information at. Been taking time to break things down so people can understand. But I am gonad riding. I am jealous. Y'all, you do. I just want people to hear. That's the stuff. But nobody is saying anything about, hey man, he lying. He ain't telling the truth. What he put out was wrong. I have yet to hear that. I have yet to hear those who have an issue with what I say to say anything about personal attacks that have been made about me, or derogatory things that have been said about me. I have yet to hear them say one time on that. And the only thing I ask is, if you're going to keep it, if you're going to keep the same energy, the standard should be the standard. You know, I am not an elected official. Holding an elected official accountable to the words that they said in the functions of their job as a political official, that's not demeaning anybody. That's not attacking. That's asking, hey, you said this. What is the evidence of it? But it's okay when the elected official can get up at an event And just for clarity, the Dr. Martin Luther King birthday celebration and unity breakfast was not an Albert Turner event. That was a community event. It was hosted by Perry County Commissioner Albert Turner and Marion, Alabama Mayor Dexter Hinton. It was announced that it was open to the public. I'm the public, and I came. Why is that a problem? I'm serious. Why is that a problem? Right? And those are the things, right? We reference to name calling, but nobody's providing anything that can refute anything that I said. Not one time is refuted. Like, okay, asking the questions. And I think a lot of people may be watching and have those concerns. What happened to the $600,000 grant in 2022? That was 3 years ago. Soon to be 4, they say February of 2022. So next month will be 4 years ago. So if we got $600,000 4 years ago to make all of those upgrades, to do upgrades of showers and everything, well, then why a year later those showers and inside of the jail deplorable conditions look like that? Why 3.5 years later that the contractor said that there's a lot of stuff wrong in that jail that was supposedly been fixed in 2022? And when people ask, okay, who was the contractor to fix it? You know, the thing is, when politicians have been used to doing everything that they want to do and not having people ask them questions, then they get mad and then they want to try to make it personal. But then you ask those questions, like, for example, in dealing with the city of Marion, in November, when they had their first city council meeting, the new city council members voted to add Ann LeCroy and Kenny, Ann LeCroy and Kenny, I can't remember, Stanley Kenny, to add them to the city bank accounts, to add them on it so they can see the city bank accounts. That was in November. They just added them, I think, yesterday to the account. Why does it take 3 months? November, December, January. So November into December, December into January. Yeah, why does it take almost 3 months to add them to the account when they are the city council members, so they can see what's going on in the bank accounts? And then when it was asked in the city council meeting, the mayor said that he may need to consult the city attorney about that. For what? To add city council members to the city bank accounts. And they was asking, why do they have and I'm being honest with you, these are simple questions. Concerned citizens, the mayor was asking, why do they have the mayor and the city clerk, who is his sister-in-law, both as signing authorities on checks? And there's been reports of that that they had reportedly that checks been bouncing, that people have been paid for months, that creditors haven't been paid for months, that creditors are threatening to sue the city for them not getting non-payments. But when I talk about it, this is stuff that was published in the Perry County Herald on December the 31st. I will share that article. But then when I ask those questions, folks get mad at me for asking those questions. And then when we say the Perry County Herald, they say, well, the Perry County Herald is, you know, they're against the administration. They want to make them look bad. Well, the question needs to be, why does the administration continue to give them ammo to make them look bad? Why aren't they doing things in decency and in order? You know, that's just like me being a pastor and my mama is on the committee to sign for checks, and I'm on the check signing authority. To make things look right, I wouldn't even have my name nowhere near it. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even want anybody on my family, anybody on the family member, on anything that's signing as far as with checks. Just for the optics of it. Just so that as a level of integrity that can operate in that. So if anything that do come up, it would eliminate any concerns that is connected to the pastor or the family. Y'all see how that works? You see how easy that is to set up standards to operate in integrity, instead of doing things and then because somebody asks a question and there may be somebody maybe holding somebody accountable that you friends with and you family with, then you want to say that damn, you want to take shots at them and get upset instead of sitting back and asking those questions. Because the funny thing is, and you know, we love, and I say this, we love to make things about race. But if that was Tony Long, when Tony Long was mayor, and Tony Long had a family member that was the city clerk, and they both had their names on the check, then there's a large portion of the African-American community that will raise concerns and have an issue about it. But let's flip the table. Because now we have an African-American mayor, and we have his sister-in-law who has the same last name, who is a family member to him, and they have the same thing set up. Then now if somebody that is white asks that question, then they're racist. You see how that is? The standard should be the standard. No race involved. Let the standard be the standard. Let the standard for truth be the standard for truth. Let the standard for facts be the standard for facts. Not that we go out and we exercise our biases because it may be against somebody. You know, my thing is I welcome conversations. I welcome people that may disagree with me. I welcome that. But what I would not tolerate is I would not tolerate personal shots. I would not tolerate that. I would not tolerate anybody that entertain anything that is derogatory without even providing verifiable facts just because you disagree with me. I won't tolerate that. And I have no respect for it. But that still don't change the fact that I don't mean I hold anything against anybody. And like I said before, this thing is not personal. And what it shows is we got a lot of people in our community that are not used to somebody being transparent, being open, being honest. Being transparent, open, and honest. And present facts. Not opinion, but facts. Everybody has a right to their opinion. Everybody has a right to their opinion. But your opinion is just that, your opinion. What supports your opinion? What supports your opinion? Right? And I will tell you, in a time of desperation, you watch how people move. Just watch how people move. When people become scared, when people become fearful, right? When the truth, that's why I said, when the lights come on, roaches scramble. When the lights come on, roaches scramble. And the lights is just being turned on. And I would tell y'all, the greatest threat to those that are in positions of influence is they are upset that the community is starting to see things for themselves. And their same old tactics that they used before, their same old talking points, their same old trying to spur racial divide, their same old tactics to try to scare and intimidate people, right? Don't work. It don't work. You know, and their same old tactics to try to make things messy and do all of those things, it's not going to work. It don't work. And the people are seeing it. And the people are making a decision for themselves that, hey, the same old tactics of let me try to go influence people with $40 ain't gonna work. Man, look, I wish somebody would come to me and offer me some money to vote. Guess what? I sure take it. I'll take that money, but mine ain't gonna be $40. I need about $100, $200. And I go vote exactly how I wanted to vote in the first time and take that money and take a picture of it, and then I'll report them to the Secretary of State page for voter fraud. See, they know that if people take the money and they vote however they want, how they want them to vote, they know by law that they can be held liable. So that's how they try to be protecting themselves, allegedly protecting themselves for so long. But like I said before, and I'm not being a Nostradamus or a prophet or whatever, but there's going to be large sums of money donated to entities connected to Albert Turner Jr. Coming up around the around May time frame. And potentially, just like in past, if I predict that like it was in the past, it's going to come from campaign contributions to elected officials at the state level to try to influence the election down here. The Emerson Group, they're going to get large donations that said for consultant, political consultant. Perry County Civic League going to get some. And all of those places, right? You can't go Perry County Civic League. If you go try to look up their nonprofit political organization, And if you go to look them up, they don't have anything on file to see where their money come from, because their entity said that they bring in less than $50,000. See, that's what they do. That's how they try, in a sense, hide the paper trail. But if you're an elected official at the state level, you can't hide it. You got to show it. Thanks to the Alabama Fair Campaign Act. And they got to file that every year. And you can see where that money go to. You can see where all of the elected officials, you can see at the state level all the way down to the local level. You can see those, you can see where their money come in and go. You can see who they made payments to. You can see some of them, they got what they made payments to. Some of them, they got null in there. You can see. And guess what? I'm going to show the community, so the community can see. And you can see how people, what they do is, because Albert has done this a lot. As of last week, Albert Turner, for his campaign, he reported he had like $3,700 for his campaign, right? But if you go in, you'll see historically, you know, you'll look up Albert Turner. If you go to like transparency.org and you can look it up, you'll see that, you know, the contributions come in and then you'll see the payments out. And many times there's a loan that's given out and it's paid back to Albert Turner from his campaign fund. And you'll see it. I'm going to lay it out for everybody so everybody can see it. And that's how they do it, right? Because Alabama campaign, they got some very loose campaign contribution laws, and they have to file monthly. They have to file monthly for those that are running for office. They have to file monthly. And you can look up anybody that's running for office right now, they have to file their campaign stuff. So you can go look it up. You can look up all of the candidates that they just announced. You can look up and see where their campaign funds are. See who donated to them. And you can see how they're managing their campaign funds. See, this is the information they don't want the community to have. Why? Because this is how they've been doing things for so long. I'm telling you, it's easy, man. You can go look up stuff. When people throw business names out there, you can take those business names and you can go to the Secretary of State page and look up the business search. And then you can search them by the business name, or you can search by the name of people who, you know, you'll be amazed at if you go in and you type somebody's name in and see how many, what businesses and what the name of the LLCs and all the stuff that pop up. And it'll tell you if it's a limited liability corporation. It'll tell you if it's a nonprofit organization. You'll be amazed at who name pop up with where. And see, that's what that's the graduate level stuff, right? That's the stuff that they feel like that they've been hiding things behind for so long. But then it got things that make you go, And I'm just telling you, that's just politics. And that's why I say I have an issue with people being in office for so long. That's why everybody's so concerned about me running for office. I don't have no admiration to run for office. Because I have no admiration to enrich myself in office. Like, I'm just telling you, that's just the God honest truth. Like, and everybody playing these games instead of being straight up. That's the rally cry, right? Just be straight up and do your job. I remember talking to some people a while back when I came to Marion back in December, and I heard somebody say this. A person said this to me, and they was frustrated with what was going on with Marion, like with the water being out and the concerns with the issues in Marion. And they said, well, if the administration just admit that they was wrong and come up with a plan to do right, we'll be all right with it. But they won't admit they wrong. They keep doing what they doing, trying to hide stuff instead of come forward. Man, we messed up. And that's all I've been talking about, being transparent and being honest. What is wrong with asking to see a real budget? What is wrong with asking to see monthly expenditures? What is wrong with asking to see that? Why aren't they willingly providing it? Right? But then somebody turn in the goddamn Magnum PI and Matlock and do some private investigative stuff, and they find information, public information, and they begin to share that public information with the community, but all of a sudden they divisive, they troublemakers, and they spread animosity in the community. Huh? Make that make sense. No, serious, make that make sense. I'm asking those questions. Make it make sense. Right? You know, I'm reminded of a song that was sung, you know, that a Christian song that was sung, and there was a phrase that I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. You know, and I'm reminded of my song on my last album, the song titled I Got Time Today. And I'm going to say the hook in that song. And the hook in that song said, be careful what you say to me, because I got time today. I can turn the other cheek, but I got time today. If you don't hear me, you will see me. I got time today. Don't take my kindness for weakness, because I got time today. So don't confuse the fact that I may have a title and I may be, you know, I may carry a title, I may be this person or whatever, right? There are certain things that I don't compromise on, certain things that I don't take lightly, right? And I will continue to stand on business. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong, right? But the one thing I don't have to do is I don't have to talk to anybody that I don't want to talk to. And I don't appreciate people try to play in my face. And I definitely not gonna entertain anybody who want to piss on me and try to convince me that it's rain, when I know it's piss because it's pissy. Right? And that's just the God honest truth. And if you have a problem and issue with anything that I do, like I said before, you can gladly block me and remove yourself from it. But apparently, you keep coming back. You may be interested in what I'm saying, so you keep coming back. Right? One thing is, you know, one thing I'm appreciative of, and I shared it to my page. You know, I've been connected to some very, very good people, genuine good people. You know, Reverend Lovejoy Ray was the former pastor of First Baptist Church in Uniontown. Is my godfather. Reverend Lovejoy Ray was the first African American voted to the Perry County Board of Education, and in 1974, Reverend Ray was my father's pastor, and he's my namesake. I'm named after him. You know, my daddy didn't want a junior, so my dad is named Robert Shepherd. My daddy didn't want a junior, so the compromise was I would be given. Reverend Ray didn't have any sons, so they gave me Reverend Ray's first name, which is Lovejoy. That's why my name is Robert Lovejoy Shepherd. They gave me his first name as my middle name, so he's my namesake. So I spent a lot of time with him. You know, every time I used to go around him and see him, he'd give me a couple dollars. I remember going over to his house, because his house was right adjacent to R.C. Hatt School. And just being around people like that, being around people, great examples, people that was pillars in the community, seeing how they move, seeing how they work, watching them, were great examples that I grew up seeing. And from those examples, I was able to pull from those examples of my grandfathers, both of my grandfathers, Charles Brown and Eddie Shepherd, Eddie Keith Shepherd, old kid. Used to own the store down there up on Cedar Hill. And then finish up, you know, selling out of the house. You know, those are the people, man. Just stand up people, good people. I was raised around good people. There's a lot of great people. You know, in my song I just did from Uniontown, I was just talking about it, man. Like, good people. The community, that's why I go so hard about the community. Because we got good people. The problem is, we've just been supporting some corrupt, some crooked folks for a very long time. And as people can see, they are very upset because I'm telling the truth. I have not lied. I have not spread misinformation. I have told the truth, and those people are in full-fledged panic mode to go into whatever they feel to try to save face instead of tell the truth, instead of come back and say, you was wrong on this. This is the truth, or answer the question, hey, this where this money was spent. This what we did with this. Like, that's all and that's the bare, like, it's not like I'm asking for something that shouldn't have already been done. That's the kind of sad but funny thing to me. Because it's as if I'm asking something that should not have already been given. And, you know, my whole thing is to inform the community, to raise awareness. I'm going to continue with facts and with truth and to raise and to provide information. Just like I did yesterday, providing information about the other day, excuse me, providing information about how to file complaints. Because we got to get those complaints. Right? And telling people about, hey, you ain't got to sit around. You can impeach and remove elected officials for different reasons in the state of Alabama, according to Alabama state law. You know, it's not so much of, you know, I'll tell you this, man. One thing that always bothered me personally, this is a personal thing. No title has ever defined me. I always hated it as being a minister and being somebody. I've been a licensed minister for over 25 years. One thing that burned my gears is to be in church and people act like because they got a title that somebody should treat them different. And to me, that's mental health. So, you know, I can respect titles, I can respect positions, but they don't make you better than nobody. You know, yeah, I'm a major in the United States military, but I also been a private. My rank has never been something I identify myself by. Never, never. And you can talk to the thousands of people that have worked with me. I have never been a person that's about rank, about trying to make myself better than what it is. Because guess what? As a minister, I still cleaned the bathroom. I still took the trash out. I still vacuumed and volunteered and helped people do that. It's not above me. Even when I was a rear detachment battalion commander, I took my trash out. I ain't had no soldier come and get my trash for me. Because people aren't beneath me. And when I see people that operate like that, it calls into question about, you know, who you are as a person. And that displays a lot of insecurities that you got to have a position to make you feel like you something. And you would never hear me say something like, who are you? Like somebody is beneath me. The audacity of that insecurity. The audacity of that insecurity. And, you know, before I get off, I do want to, this is a public service announcement that I do want to say. If you're going to be in a, if we're going to have a dialogue on social media and we're offering different perspectives and different opinions about a subject, I just ask that you take some time to fully understand the words that you're using, because using a word in the context that is don't mean that does not further support your argument. It really makes weaken your argument, right? And you know, I would just say this, right? I will offer this. There was a point where in my professional career, I was a part of this organization, and there were some senior leaders who gave some advice. And those senior leaders challenged a lot of the junior leaders to read more. They said, read more. Don't read the stuff that you read, like read more. Just spend about 15 to 30 minutes a day reading different things, reading articles, reading different things. And I took that challenge and I dedicated some time, energy, and effort to just reading different things. Now me, reading a book, like for entertainment, not happening. I'm just telling you right now, I'm gonna be asleep real quick, right? But when you talk about me reading for information, I can do that. So I just started reading different articles and just read things, quick reads, right? They help you with your vocabulary. They help you be able to articulate yourself in a better way, right? Because if you're trying to use words that you really don't know the meaning of, it doesn't help further your argument. So I just would offer to just take some time to read and gain a better understanding before trying to use words that don't further your argument. But again, like I always said, if I've misspoken, if I have been wrong about something, please provide me with credible, verifiable information, and I will gladly come back on and say that I was wrong. And what I would add too is to Albert Turner and those that support him and have been defending him, right? Please provide answers to the questions that I know many people, constituents in Perry County wants to know, or please provide proof that I'm lying. And I will come back and say, hey, they were right on this, right? But if you're not going to do that and you're just going to refer back to, resort back to name calling, resort back to those elementary level things, then I would just tell you it's showing that it's what they say, it's given desperation. It's given desperation because the community wants to know the truth. Yeah, there's a lot that don't like what I'm doing, but the community wants to know the truth. So you guys have a great and wonderful day. God bless.